The War of the Ring was a monumental conflict that shaped the fate of Middle-earth during the Third Age. This epic struggle between the forces of good and evil, driven by the power of the One Ring, set the stage for some of the most legendary events in Tolkien's universe. In this series, we explore the origins, key battles, and consequences of these wars, beginning with the War of the Last Alliance. In the Second Age, following the defeat of Morgoth in the War of Wrath, his lieutenant Sauron rose as the new Dark Lord. Lacking the godlike power of the Vala, Sauron relied on deception and cunning. Disguising himself as Annatar, a benevolent servant of the Vala, he manipulated Celebrimbor and the Noldor Elves in 1500 SA to forge the Rings of Power. 20 rings were created, 3 for the Elves, 7 for the Dwarves, and 9 for men, who later became the Nazgul. Secretly, Sauron forged the One Ring in Mount Doom to control all others. When the ring-bearers discovered Sauron's treachery, they removed their rings, sparking the War of the Elves in 1693 SA. Sauron's forces overwhelmed the Elven kingdoms, devastating their lands and establishing him as the ruler of Middle-earth. During this time, he constructed Barad-Dûr and the Black Gate in Mordor, though he failed to dominate the dwarves due to their resilience. By 1695 SA, the Elven king Gil-galad, pushed to the River Lun, sought aid from the men of Númenor. The Númenorians launched a massive invasion, unmatched in scale by any human army before. In 1701 SA, they achieved a decisive victory at the Battle of the Gwathlo, driving Sauron's forces back to Mordor. While Sauron regrouped, the Elves rebuilt, with Elrond appointed as regent of Rivendell. The Númenorians, reveling in their triumph, colonized Middle-earth's coasts, often oppressing local human populations. Their envy of elven immortality and their exclusion from the undying lands of Valinor created a schism in Númenorian society. The faithful remained loyal to the Elves and Vala, while the king's men, swayed by ambitious monarchs, drifted toward corruption. Sauron capitalized on this division, proclaiming himself Lord of the Earth and King of Men. In 3260 SA, his armies attacked Númenorian cities, provoking King Ar-Pharazôn. In 3261 SA, the Númenorians marched unopposed to Barad-Dûr, capturing Sauron. However, as a prisoner in Númenor, Sauron's cunning corrupted the court, poisoning the minds of the people. He instigated an invasion of the Undying Lands in 3319 SA, leading to Númenor's destruction by the Vala, who sank the island, killing most of its inhabitants. 9 ships of the faithful, led by Elendil and his sons Isildur and Anarion, escaped to Middle-earth. They founded the kingdoms of Gondor in the south and Arnor in the north, merging with existing Númenorian colonies. Sauron, weakened but retaining the One Ring, fled to Mordor to rebuild his strength. By 3429 SA, Sauron's forces attacked Gondor, besieging Minas Ithil and Osgiliath. Minas Ithil fell quickly, but Anarion held Osgiliath while Isildur sought aid from Elendil in the north. The last alliance of men and elves was formed, led by Elendil and Gil-galad. Over 2 years, they amassed a vast army, including elves from Mirkwood and Lothlorien, dwarves from Khazad-dûm, and Anarion's forces from Gondor. The alliance gathered at Amon Sul and Rivendell before crossing the Misty Mountains to confront Sauron. In 3434 SA, the last alliance faced Sauron's hordes on the plains of Dagorlad. Gil-galad held supreme command, but the elven kings Orifer of Mirkwood and Amdur of Lothlorien, resentful of his authority, broke formation and charged recklessly. Initially successful, their forces were overwhelmed, suffering heavy losses. Gil-galad's decisive leadership and the alliance's discipline turned the tide, securing victory but at great cost. The Fallen transformed the region into the Dead Marshes, and Thranduil and Amroth inherited their fathers' thrones. The alliance pressed into Mordor, breaching the Black Gate and advancing toward Barad-Dûr. Sauron's fortress, fortified by dark magic and bound to the One Ring, proved nearly impregnable. The siege lasted 7 years, with relentless orc sorties, arrows, and flaming missiles decimating the alliance. In the 6th year, Anarion was killed by a missile from Barad-Dûr, fueling the Númenóreans' resolve. In the 7th year, Sauron led a final assault. The alliance, with elven swordsmen and Númenórean warriors at the center and dwarves on the flanks, held firm against the Orcish tide. Despite their discipline, the alliance was outnumbered until Sauron himself entered the fray, clad in armor and wielding the One Ring. Sauron's presence turned the battle, slaying Gil-galad and Elendil on the slopes of Mount Doom. As hope faded, Isildur seized his father's broken sword, Narsil, and in a desperate act, cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand. The Dark Lord's physical form was destroyed, and his forces routed. Elrond urged Isildur to destroy the ring in Mount Doom, but Isildur, entranced by its power, refused, claiming it as recompense for his father's death. This decision fractured the alliance and left Barad-Dûr intact. Isildur's refusal to destroy the ring ensured Sauron's eventual return. On his journey to Arnor, Isildur and his sons were ambushed by orcs, and the ring was lost in the river Anduin. The War of the Last Alliance marked the end of the Second Age and the beginning of the Third, setting the stage for the War of the Ring. The events of this conflict would resonate through Middle-earth's history, shaping its future and the fate of all its peoples. This is the first episode in our series on the history of Middle-earth. Stay tuned for our next exploration of the War of the Ring and its pivotal battles. Subscribe and share to join us on this journey through Tolkien's legendary universe, **.